Most people think manifestation works like climbing a mountain, one step at a time. More effort, more visualization, more force. But what if I told you that the very way you've been trying to manifest is the reason it keeps slipping through your fingers? What if manifestation doesn't move forward at all, but backwards? And once this clicks, you won't be able to unsee it. Everything you thought you knew about creating reality will quietly collapse, and something far more powerful will take its place. You've been trained to want your way into a better life, to desire harder, to imagine clearer, to repeat affirmations until your throat feels dry, hoping the universe finally gets the message. And maybe once in a while something shows up. But more often than not, there's that familiar frustration, like standing inches away from everything you want, yet separated by an invisible wall. Close enough to feel it, too far to touch it. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never realize. The moment you want something, you declare that you don't have it. Wanting is not neutral. Wanting is a frequency, and that frequency is lack. Think about it. When you say, "I want abundance," what are you really saying? You're confirming that abundance is absent right now. When you visualize your dream relationship as something you're trying to attract, you're silently agreeing that love isn't here yet. The quantum field doesn't respond to words. It responds to states of being, and the state of wanting always communicates not now, not yet, somewhere else. That's why manifesting forward keeps you stuck in delay. Quantum manifestation works differently, radically differently. You don't move from lack toward fulfillment. You begin from fulfillment itself. You don't reach into the future and hope something arrives. You step backward into a reality that already exists and live from there. Because here's what most people never understand. Everything you desire already exists, not as a vague possibility, but as a complete, fully formed reality within the quantum field. Every version of your life already exists right now. The version where you're financially free, the version where you're deeply loved, the version where your body feels strong, clear, and alive. You're not creating these realities, you're selecting one of them. At the quantum level, time doesn't behave the way we were taught. The future isn't something you move toward. The future can influence the present. When you align with a reality that already exists in potential, the future begins organizing the present to match it. Scientists call this retrocausality. But you don't need the word to feel the effect. You've experienced it before in moments where things suddenly fell into place without effort. This is where most people mess it up. They hear this and think, okay, I'll just pretend I already have it. But pretending isn't embodiment. Hoping isn't knowing. And desire, even when disguised as confidence, still carries the vibration of separation. True backward manifestation requires something far deeper. The complete collapse of the distance between you and what you want. Not reducing the gap, not shortening the journey, eliminating the gap entirely. When there is no gap, there is no journey. When there is no journey, there is only arrival. And when there is only arrival, manifestation stops feeling like work. Your consciousness isn't limited by physical rules. It doesn't need time to travel. The moment you embody the awareness of the version of you who already lives that reality, you begin broadcasting from that frequency. And the quantum field doesn't argue, it mirrors. This isn't positive thinking, this isn't visualization, this is how reality responds to observation. When you observe from the end point, from completion, from already having, probability rearranges itself around you. Let me make this simple. Imagine reading a book, but you already know how it ends. As you move through the pages, nothing feels random. Every event makes sense. Every delay feels purposeful. That's what happens when you live from the knowing of the outcome. Life stops feeling chaotic. It starts feeling guided. Opportunities don't chase you, they appear. People don't convince you. They align. Resources don't resist you. They flow. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you're already living inside the timeline where it has happened. This is why people who truly understand manifestation feel calm, grounded, certain. They're not desperate. They're not waiting for signs. They're not negotiating with reality. Their inner state reflects completion, not craving, gratitude, not need, certainty, not hope. And here's something most people miss. The universe stops testing you when your frequency stops questioning itself. When your energy says, "This is already done," reality no longer pushes back. It starts confirming. If this is already shifting something inside you, take a second right now to subscribe. Not out of pressure, but because staying connected to this frequency matters. Understanding alone isn't enough. Repetition rewires consciousness. Now let's go deeper, because theory without embodiment changes nothing. The first real step in backward manifestation is selection. Not creation. Selection. Imagine standing before an infinite archive. Every possible version of your life exists there. As a living reality. Not ideas, not dreams, actual timelines. You don't build one, you choose one. And the moment you choose it fully, something profound happens inside you. Your breathing changes, your posture shifts, your nervous system relaxes. Because certainty feels different in the body than desire ever could. This isn't imagination, this is alignment. But here's the rule most people break. You cannot select abundance while still gripping scarcity. You cannot embody fulfillment while emotionally checking what's missing. The selection must be total, clean, unconditional. That's what a quantum leap really is. Not a gradual improvement, an identity shift. One moment you're someone who wants, the next moment you're someone who lives. And reality follows identity every single time. The moment that identity shifts, something subtle but powerful begins to happen. You stop looking at reality as proof of what's possible and start seeing it as a lagging indicator of who you used to be. Your current circumstances lose their authority. They no longer define you. They simply describe a previous state of consciousness that's already dissolving. This is where embodied certainty comes in. And this is where most people fall back into old patterns without realizing it. Certainty isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't argue with reality. Certainty is quiet. It's the calm knowing that lives in your body when you're no longer waiting for permission to feel complete. When someone truly embodies certainty, they stop checking. They stop monitoring. They stop scanning their environment for signs that things are working. Think about it. If you knew something was already done, would you keep checking for proof? Of course not. You only seek evidence when doubt is present. And here's the paradox that changes everything. The moment you stop needing evidence, evidence begins appearing everywhere. This is not coincidence. This is coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and identity align around a single reality, you become a clear signal. No interference, no contradiction, no mixed frequency, and the quantum field responds instantly to clarity. Confusion creates delay, certainty creates momentum. This is why people who truly live in abundance don't obsess over money. This is why people who are deeply loved don't chase validation. This is why people who are healthy don't constantly analyze their bodies. They're not detached, they're complete, and completeness is magnetic. Most people unknowingly treat manifestation like a negotiation. They believe they must prove themselves, show discipline, demonstrate belief, earn their desires. But the quantum field doesn't negotiate. It doesn't judge. It doesn't reward effort. It reflects state, always. If your internal state says, "I am becoming," reality reflects process. If your internal state says, "I am," reality reflects confirmation. This is where backward manifestation becomes practical instead of philosophical. Because the question now isn't how do I get what I want? The real question is, who am I being while I wait? Waiting itself is a frequency, and it's not neutral. This brings us to reality assumption. The conscious choice to live from your selected timeline regardless of what your senses report. This is not denial. This is leadership. Your senses report the past. Your consciousness selects the future. If you've chosen the reality where you are financially abundant, then scarcity-based decisions no longer make sense. If you've chosen the reality where your body is healthy and strong, you stop treating your body like a problem. If you've chosen the reality where you live with purpose, you stop acting like meaning is something you're searching for. This isn't about forcing massive action, it's about subtle alignment, tone, pace, response, the way you speak, the way you pause, the way you react or don't react to triggers that used to control you. And yes, this is where resistance shows up. Old timelines don't disappear quietly. They surface one last time to see if you still identify with them. A bill arrives. A delay happens. Someone questions you. And in that moment, everything is decided. Do you collapse back into the old identity, or do you override it? The version of you who already lives your desired reality would respond differently. Not emotionally numb, emotionally sovereign. They would feel but not spiral, observe but not panic, adjust but not abandon alignment. This is what I call reality override. It's not about changing circumstances, it's about choosing your state in the presence of circumstances. The same event can either reinforce your old timeline or stabilize your new one, depending entirely on who you choose to be in that moment. Every time you choose calm instead of urgency, every time you choose trust instead of fear, every time you choose alignment instead of reaction, you are strengthening your hold on the new timeline. And here's something important to understand. When you first shift, manifestation may feel quiet, almost uneventful. That's because the work is happening internally first. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your identity is reorganizing. Your frequency is stabilizing. Then something interesting starts to happen. You notice fewer emotional swings. You stop chasing clarity. You feel grounded without knowing why. This is a sign that coherence is forming. And once coherence forms, reality has no choice but to follow. This is where people start noticing coincidences. Perfect timing. Unexpected messages, opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere. But these aren't rewards, they're confirmations, reality catching up to who you already are. I want you to pause for a moment and feel into this. Not intellectually, physically. Imagine the version of you who already lives the life you desire. How do they breathe? How do they stand? How does their chest feel, their jaw, their shoulders? Your body knows this state. It's not foreign, it's familiar, because it already exists within you. And this leads to one of the most important realizations of all. You've been selecting realities your entire life. Every belief you've accepted, every story you've repeated, every identity you've claimed. That was manifestation, just unconscious, backward manifestation isn't new behavior, it's conscious behavior. Instead of letting your past define your present, you let your chosen future define it. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you author them through state. This is the shift from being shaped by life to shaping experience. And this is why I want you to do something simple but powerful right now. Drop a comment below with this exact phrase. I am ready to manifest backwards. Not as a trend, not as a joke, as a declaration. Declarations aren't for the universe, they're for you. When you claim identity out loud, your nervous system listens. And once your nervous system aligns, reality follows. Once you've declared your shift and begun living from your selected reality, something subtle but unmistakable starts happening. Time itself begins to feel different. You're no longer racing toward outcomes or counting days, weeks, or signs. There's a quiet sense that everything is already in motion, even when nothing visible seems to be changing. This is timeline coherence taking root. Timeline coherence means your inner world stops contradicting your chosen reality. Your thoughts, emotions, and reactions begin moving in the same direction instead of pulling against each other. Most people sabotage manifestation not because they lack belief, but because they leak energy through internal contradiction. One moment they feel aligned, the next moment they react as if nothing has changed. Coherence is what stabilizes the shift. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. A calm, steady alignment outperforms emotional highs every time. You don't need to feel powerful all day. You just need to stop abandoning your selected identity when circumstances try to pull you backward. The majority of your state must reflect who you've chosen to be. And here's something crucial to understand. When contradictions show up, they are not signs of failure. They are echoes. Residual patterns from timelines you are no longer living in. Reality doesn't update instantly because consciousness must lead before matter follows. What you're seeing during this phase is the past completing itself. Most people misinterpret this moment and retreat. They think it's not working, when in truth it's reorganizing. The version of you who already lives your desired reality would not panic here. They wouldn't emotionally collapse because of temporary contrast. They would remain anchored, grounded, unreactive. And every time you choose that response, coherence strengthens. This is where quantum surrender enters the process. Quantum surrender is not giving up. It's releasing control over the how and the when. Once you've selected your reality and embodied its frequency, your job is no longer to manage outcomes. Trying to control manifestation after alignment is like pulling on a plant to make it grow faster. It doesn't help. It interferes. Surrender is only possible when certainty is present. You can't surrender something you don't trust is already done. But when you know the outcome exists, when you feel it as complete, effort naturally falls away. This is when manifestation becomes effortless. You stop checking timelines. You stop measuring progress. You stop asking, when is it coming? And in that release, things accelerate. This is one of the strangest truths of quantum reality. The moment you stop watching the clock, time reorganizes itself. Events line up faster. Conversations happen naturally. Doors open without force. Not because you're lucky, but because you're no longer blocking the flow with urgency. Urgency signals lack. Relaxation signals trust, and trust is a powerful frequency. As surrender deepens, you begin experiencing what I call identity stabilization. The new version of you no longer feels temporary. It starts feeling normal. The old reactions feel foreign. Old worries lose emotional charge. The mind becomes quieter not because you're controlling it, but because there's nothing left to argue with. This is when manifestation becomes embodied rather than practiced. And this is where a deeper truth reveals itself. You are not trying to change reality. You are remembering who you are. Every identity you've ever held was learned. Every limitation was conditioned. Beneath all of that is a natural state of wholeness, clarity, and creative power. Backward manifestation doesn't add anything to you. It removes interference. This realization changes how you move through life. You stop seeing yourself as someone chasing a better future and start experiencing yourself as someone selecting experiences from an infinite field. Life becomes navigational instead of effort-based. This is what leads to quantum mobility. Quantum mobility is the ability to shift between timelines by choice rather than circumstance. Instead of waiting for external conditions to change before you feel aligned, you choose alignment first and let conditions follow. This is advanced embodiment, and it's something you develop through repetition, not force. Every time you choose peace in chaos, every time you choose abundance in uncertainty, every time you choose trust in the face of doubt, you strengthen your ability to move between realities. Over time, this becomes automatic. You stop being emotionally hijacked by events. You respond instead of react. You lead your experience rather than being dragged by it. And reality begins to mirror this leadership. Things that used to feel heavy become light. Problems dissolve before fully forming. Solutions appear without struggle. This isn't magic, it's alignment. As this capacity deepens, you'll notice how others respond to you differently. People feel calmer around you. Opportunities seem drawn to you. Conversations flow with ease. This isn't because you're trying to influence anyone. It's because coherence is magnetic. When your frequency stabilizes, it becomes a tuning fork. Others unconsciously adjust to it. This is why transformation spreads without effort. Being aligned is more powerful than trying to convince. But quantum mobility requires one final release, the release of victim consciousness. As long as you believe circumstances have authority over your internal state, you remain reactive. Freedom comes when you understand that nothing outside of you determines who you are being in a moment. You choose your state, always. This doesn't mean ignoring pain or bypassing emotion. It means feeling without being ruled by it, experiencing without identifying, observing without collapsing. This is sovereignty, and sovereignty changes everything. Because when you are sovereign in your state, reality has no leverage over you. Delays don't discourage you. Opinions don't destabilize you. Temporary contrast doesn't pull you off course. You remain aligned, not because everything is perfect, but because you are. At this stage, manifestation stops feeling like a process and starts feeling like a natural side effect of being aligned. You're no longer trying to create change. Change unfolds around you as a response to coherence. And this is where frequency mastery begins. Now, let's talk about the most powerful part of backward manifestation. Frequency sovereignty. This is the point where your reality stops being shaped by external conditions and starts being shaped by the frequency you consistently broadcast. Your frequency is your most valuable asset, not your money, not your connections, not your skills, your frequency. Think of your consciousness like a radio transmitter. Every thought, emotion, and belief is a signal. The quantum field responds to that signal continuously, 24/7. Even when you're asleep, your frequency is broadcasting. The field never stops listening. Most people send mixed signals. Part of them wants abundance, while another part fears lack. Part of them wants love, while another part fears rejection. Part of them wants health, while another part worries about illness. Mixed signals create mixed results. That's why you can want something desperately and still not experience it. Frequency sovereignty means you take full responsibility for the signal you're sending. You become aware of the thoughts you think, the feelings you feel, and the identity you hold. And when something doesn't match your chosen reality, you correct it, not through force, but through conscious alignment. This is where advanced manifestors become unstoppable. Their inner state becomes stable enough that external chaos no longer affects them. Economic downturns don't shake their abundance. Social chaos doesn't shake their peace. Other people's fear doesn't trigger their fear. Because their frequency is sovereign, it is consistent, it is coherent. And here's the deeper truth. When you master frequency sovereignty, you stop trying to manifest things outside of yourself. You stop chasing outcomes. You stop believing that your happiness depends on external conditions, because you understand that your reality is a reflection of your state, and your state is something you can choose. This is when you begin to remember who you really are. You are not a limited human trying to create a life. You are consciousness expressing itself through a physical experience. You are the universe experiencing itself through your eyes. The desires you have are not random cravings. They are invitations to remember your own nature. This changes everything. Because then manifestation is no longer a method. It becomes self-recognition. Instead of trying to become someone new, you're remembering who you already are. Instead of building a new life, you're stepping into the life that already exists within the quantum field. And as this understanding deepens, something remarkable begins to happen. You start influencing the collective field of consciousness. Your alignment becomes a contribution to humanity's evolution. This is not spiritual fluff. It's the truth of morphic resonance. The idea that when enough people embody a new pattern, it becomes easier for others to access that pattern. Think about how breakthroughs in human consciousness often appear simultaneously across different cultures. People who never met suddenly reach the same conclusion. That's not coincidence. That's collective resonance. So when you master backward manifestation, you're not just changing your own life. You're helping raise the frequency of the entire field. Every time you choose alignment over struggle, you create a permission field for others. You demonstrate through your presence that a different reality is possible. And this is where your personal transformation becomes a form of service. Not because you're trying to save anyone, but because your aligned state naturally inspires others. People will notice the difference in you. They may not be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. They'll ask, "What changed?" They'll want to know your secret, and even if you don't say a word, your presence alone will plant a seed in them. This is the consciousness cascade. As your frequency stabilizes, you activate dormant potential in the people around you. Your aligned state becomes a tuning fork. It helps others remember their own power. And the more people who align, the faster the collective field shifts. Now, I want you to understand something even more profound. The quantum field isn't just potential. It's not a wish list waiting to be collapsed. It's a vast web of actual realities, all existing simultaneously. Every timeline you can imagine is already real. The one you experience depends on which one your consciousness is aligned with. So manifestation is not creation, it's navigation. You're not building a life. You're choosing which version of life you want to experience. And then you align your frequency with that reality until it becomes your dominant timeline. Imagine all possible versions of your life laid out like frames in an infinite film. There's the timeline where you're struggling. There's the timeline where you're thriving. There's the timeline where you're alone. There's the timeline where you're deeply connected. All of them exist now. The only thing that determines which one you live is your alignment. This is why people who master backward manifestation experience rapid shifts. They don't wait years to change. They shift in weeks or months because they're no longer building something from scratch. They're stepping into a timeline where it already exists. But this level of mastery requires a willingness to let go of the old story. It requires you to release the belief that you're a victim of circumstances, that you're limited by your past, that your life is something that happens to you. Because when you fully embrace your sovereignty, you realize that you are the chooser, you are the navigator, you are the one who decides which timeline you live. So I want to ask you a powerful question right now. What old belief are you ready to release in order to step into your quantum breakthrough? Write it in the comments. Don't overthink it. Just be honest. The moment you name it, you weaken its power. The moment you release it, you create space for a new reality. And here's the part that most people forget. Manifestation is not about accumulating, it's about alignment. It's not about getting more, it's about being more. When you become the frequency of your desired reality, the external world must respond. It has no choice. So the question becomes, what are you ready to embody? Are you ready to embody abundance? Are you ready to embody love? Are you ready to embody health? Are you ready to embody freedom? Pick one, choose it, and begin living from that identity today, not tomorrow. Because the field doesn't respond to your plans, it responds to your presence. Now, if you found this video helpful, I want you to do two things. First, share it with someone who is ready to understand a deeper level of reality. Not just another motivational clip, but a true shift in how they think, feel, and live. Second, comment below with one word that describes the frequency you're choosing to embody moving forward. Not what you want to attract, but who you're ready to be. And if you want to keep exploring these principles with me, make sure you subscribe, because this is just the beginning. The more you understand the quantum nature of consciousness, the more you realize that reality is not fixed. It's fluid, it's responsive, and it's waiting for you to choose. So choose now. Choose your reality, choose your frequency, choose your identity. Because the version of you who already lives your desired life is not waiting for permission. They're already here. And that version of you is ready to be remembered.